Good evening. Good evening. This is Spirit Journey. Yes, I hope your day went well. Today is I think it's Tuesday, November 13th, 2018, and it's approaching 9 p.m. I was very busy today uploading videos. Sometimes I just feel like just doing videos. It was rainy all day, and I did not want to go outside. So I just stayed in and just relaxed. I had some some veggies. Yeah, I've been vegetarian now for a couple of months, maybe 2.5 months now. But I do eat eggs and dairy, and I love my ice cream. Yes, I let's see. As you see with the title, I saw a movie on Buddhism. I think it's actually the second time that I watched this program on YouTube. I liked it overall. It got me thinking about my own life. And so, real- my understanding with Buddhism, or the founder of the practice, more like a philosophy, his name is Siddhartha, and he was born into the military ruling class, and it was prophesied that just before he was born that either he'll be a ruler or he'll be like a religious person, and but his father wanted him to be a ruler, like a military person, and so he kept him within the palace all his, his up to his adult life in his 20s. And he thought if you just keep him in the palace where everything is perfect, uh, his all his physical appetites were to be um, obliged. And one day the father also didn't want him outside, so just keep him at home in the illusion that everything's perfect. And so if everything's perfect in the palace, then they'll probably want to rule, become a leader of that domain. So the father wanted to just keep him inside, don't let him know what's going on outside. Also during this time in India, this was in between northern India, I think northeast India, and the country of Nepal, around there. And during this time, there's a lot of war going on. There's a lot of poverty and hunger and dying. And so this my little dog, you should see what she's doing. It's really cute. I'll bring her out here. Come here, little peanut. Yeah, this is lilac. Yeah. So what happened? Um, so India, or that part of the world, was under a lot of strife. And so again, the father thought, just keep him um, in the palace, let him have the illusion that everything is perfect. But one day he ventured out and he saw reality. He saw the first person he saw was an elderly man, and then another time he went out, he saw a sick man, and then the last time he saw someone who had died, and it shook him up. And so those events really sparked him to venture outside. And he said, I'm in distress about everything, and I want to find how to escape this this life. He said, it ultimately my life will be like those three figures that I saw. And so he wanted to escape this. So he, in short, becomes like a monk. He lives out on his whim, and he shuns all material goods, and he begs in order to survive. And during this time, a lot of people and some women did that. They forsook everything and just wanted to be spiritual and just to live by their wits in seeking enlightenment and to, I guess, escape this current reality. But he had two teachers, and I think it was with them a total of 6 years, and he didn't get any enlightenment. Siddhartha, the Buddha, he felt that life was about pain and suffering, and how could he become enlightened from this? So he eventually leaves his teachers, and he says, I'm going to do this on my own. And he started meditating under this tree, and then he gets some enlightenment. So I thought that's in essence about his life. And then he starts to teach his philosophy to some of the people he used to be with in his earlier days when he forsook. He was like very harsh on the body, like he was starving himself, and there were other people that were still living that lifestyle. But now with him finding enlightenment, he does eat food now, and his appearance looks good. So the message I got from him was that life is a balance. It's not about extremities, and that I could understand that. I kind of like that approach. So with me, now what's my thought on a personal level? Let me see now. Um, I think I used to think that everything was about becoming perfect, about not making mistakes. And I guess the reason why I say that is because growing up, especially when I was very, very young, that I felt pressure put on me in school and at work. And I couldn't make a mistake. I wasn't allowed to make a mistake. And it was very stressful. And so now it's like, I don't know. I see the world kind of different now. Nobody's perfect. And so you start to wonder, well, how come we were taught that this idealism? I was taught that, happiness was, if you have a certain situation, like if you have certain things, or even certain types of relationships. And I find that it's not so. Um, it's a really weird feeling, or especially with relationships, that you wonder. Like some people would say, you need women have to be married to be happy, and I know a lot of miserable people that are married. So I know that's not true. I also think about the illusion, like I think Siddhartha, when he was, growing up, he lived in an unrealistic world initially, and but he came to an awareness. And as for me, that how do you say now? Try to get my thoughts. Um, voila. I guess the illusion of, if you taught if you because see, we're all born in a system. I was born in a system, living in New York City, And I guess, in comparison to me and the life of the Buddha, that for him, at that time, there was a lot of starvation and a lot of death. Now, with here in this Western society, it's not a lot of physical death, and the type of suffering is not something so much physical but social. For me, the pain, um, pain of being a woman that I saw early in life, and no one actually I think early in my life, I don't think they actually said negative things that made me feel this way, but it's more of what I observe, what you see, what I saw at my home. I would say that's the first thing. And then I felt like the things you see on television, the role of men versus women, and I thought the men were being catered to and the women were more like servants. And I didn't want that for myself. I don't think there's anything wrong with someone who chooses a lifestyle of doing that, so long that it's an understanding. But I think sometimes there's not a real understanding, and that there is an abuse of power. That uh, yes, I know you may not that you may not mind doing this type of work for me, but I'm your superior, and I'm the important one. That type of mentality, and I don't like that. And part of me feels like it's a type of slavery, and I I feel for me I want freedom. I want freedom with any relationship that I'm in. I don't want to feel like I'm being um, choked or oppressed. And even like with different types of jobs, I have listened to people talk about the different work that they do. And there's a lot of people who go to work and are miserable. And I wonder, how did this system start? How could we have developed a society of misery, of spending 20, 30 years at a job, and so many people whose health. Now, I've known people who are at a job and their body is aching, that the type of work they do is causing their physical pain. I said, man, I mean, and you have people who fight for certain jobs. You have people who want to become actors and actresses, and it's the belief like they'll make a lot of money. Yeah, you have some of those performers in Hollywood who make millions of dollars. But as you see now with the media, they don't seem very happy. You look at some of them and they look kind of spooky. So I said, wow, they have all this money, excuse me, but they don't look very physically well, some of them. Some of them look like they're withering away. They do a lot of drugs, some of them. So I think like that lifestyle, for example, with Hollywood, is an illusion also. This They want us to see this make believe life and fantasy, and then it's attracting so many people. So many people go to Hollywood to make it big, right? But you wonder why. If you really just start looking at the lives of these people, um, it's going to be frightening when just to look at. So why do we choose certain occupations? And again, it's what you see and what Siddhartha's families wanted him to see. They wanted him to see a life in a certain way to keep him stationary there. And it turns out that if Siddhartha stayed there, his village, the town that he was raised in, got pillared by um, another ruler, and it was wiped out. So isn't that something that here the father, for I think around 27 of his years in the palace and creating this reality, but then down the road it would have been wiped out. So the father was lying to him, and fate had it that he would see certain things, and he, I guess ultimately he got, I guess you could say he became a ruler in this philosophy of his, and he had followers, and he started a movement that spread all over Asia. So it wasn't really a total loss for him. But again, as it pertains to my life now, um, I feel too like Siddhartha that my being, I'm sorry, I got distracted there. My being taught one thing about society and its realities, and watching television and being taught one thing, and then slowly you say, okay, let me seek this out, and then you find that there's nothing to it. That too is an illusion. So it can make you feel a little frustrated. That okay, so where is truth hidden? Where do I go look for it? So I would say sometimes I'm left feeling frustrated and wonder what is my life all about. So I would say like I've been feeling this way mostly, I would say for the past 4 years, um, on this what I call spirit journeys when I started my channel. And I wonder where do you find truth? Um, it's a good question. Where do you find enlightenment? According to Buddhism, he said, well, the that everything is about the internal. Um, seeking the. I think they use the term seeking the universe within inside yourself, and that sounds pretty good. I guess ultimately you have to. It's all within you, because I guess you stated, stationary, who you are. And then again, they said that your concept of yourself changes too. So, like, I guess as that pertains to me, one minute I was someone's daughter living in their home, and then uh, a big part of my life I was in school, so then I was a student. Um, Yeah, so one minute you might be in a particular relationship or friendship, and then that too changes. So, how I might think about myself during these different stages of my life changes too. So I guess I start to ask, well, who am I, since my concept of self keeps on changing, you know? Um, I guess I also think about like my mother is still alive, and I guess the reality, I guess, I used to think that we're all kind of, my folks would live forever. But I'm seeing that that's not so. My father had passed, and I guess, like when you're really young, you might have been preoccupied with certain things. Like I remember one time I uh, wanted to stay up late and be able to watch TV with the adults, but I had to go to bed earlier. And you might have thought, like, for a while, like, wow, when am I going to be considered uh, adult enough to stay up late or go out certain places? And so that was a mindset for me. but I no longer am in that mindset because as an adult, living on my own, I get up when I feel like getting up, or if I want to watch something, I can make choices for myself. So when you're younger, choices are made for you oftentimes, and then when you're older, you have to make the correct choices for you. And I think initially that in between those two stages is about how far you go. Now some people, when they get the freedom to go out and do whatever, they might go extreme, and they might go into something harsh, like become a drug addict or an alcoholic. So things might be permissible, but if you go too far with certain things, it could hurt you. So when you become an adult, you think about, I guess the Buddha would say, a middle ground, you know? So I guess I'm trying to find what my uh, my midpoint is, so that I don't go too far extreme. And um, I would say, like, I was getting into, I was interested in things like the past 2 years. Yes, hello viewers, welcome, welcome. Yes, and please feel free to just go on the chat and just say hello if you like, and so I know who I could say hello to. Yeah, so anyway, like I was interested in getting certain clothing to wear, and then I noticed when when you buy new things, for example, clothing, that the appeal of the item is short season. And I remember when I was younger, I couldn't, I didn't, I wasn't able to afford a lot of things, clothing. That was a premium for me when I was just starting out. And I thought, wow, if I only had this or that outfit. But now it's like, okay, I bought some of those things I thought would really be nice. But I see that it has its season, you know? And that, the clothing changes. Like, let's say you buy something, you keep wearing it, you wash it, it doesn't stay the same. And so I guess what I'm saying is that the material things that you get in your life, that it too gets old. It doesn't last forever either. And or like my body. My body's not the same as when I was a 10-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 30-year-old. That it too is changing, and so my the concept of myself changes with time, and so I have to adjust. And or look at now, like I have I'm leaning on a heating pad. My back is aching for whatever reason. My certain muscles in my back and groin muscle was getting sensitive, and my walking my dogs, and they're pulling in all different directions sometimes, and it started to hurt my body. And so some days, I have to limit how far I could walk with them, and I love walking and everything. So I said, hey, let me go to, um, this is where the assumption about life, that we might try to make plans for our life, for something, and we may make based on your understanding, what might consider a wise decision, something that's in reason. I had, like, I bought a new mattress, and it was a very pricey mattress. It was an organic mattress that's made out of latex. It was said to last about 20 years. The mattress that I had for maybe 10 years, it was a foam mattress. And I started to get a little achy back when I woke up. So I thought, okay, hey, maybe it's time for a new mattress. And then when I get the new mattress, it took 4 whole weeks for my mattress to be delivered. And the disappointment that I had with it. Now, these mattresses, the mattress that I purchased is all handmade and it's all organic. But we're human, and there was some errors made in it, and they had sent um, the wrong topper for the mattress. So it's like, wow. So here I did the best I could, and I did my research. But even though I did all what I could have done in researching and trying out different beds, and my heart was in the right place. Still, we're dealing with imperfection in others, and it did not come to the enjoyment level of enjoyment that I thought the money could buy me. And I'm learning that just because you spend a lot of money on something doesn't mean that it's going to equate the 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 equivalent um, happiness with it that's attached to it. There could be two separate things, and that something could be real inexpensive and it gives you a lot of rewards. So that's one lesson that I learned, and then I thought, okay, let me go to a chiropractor because of the back and groin muscle pain I've been having for a couple of months. So, I mean, I tried, I went to the doctors, um, a regular MD, and I did what I could to try to promote wellness in my body, eating the right foods, a vegetarian based diet. Um, I take my supplements. So I said, hey, let me just try this also. I found a chiropractor, and you know, I'm in more pain now since I'm going to this chiropractor. Now, I like their approach. They were very systematic, and they really want to please, but wanting to wanting to please a client doesn't mean that they're going to be pleased. I'm in utter pain. I am worse off right now using the chiropractor. The only thing that did get better was my neck, but my whole back area um, is least to be desired. But like the first adjustment that I had was actually positive. The pain that I had in my groin muscle stopped, and I was able to walk home without that pain. But of course, I can't like do strenuous movements or stretches, down there to that muscle. That it would hurt, but regular, just walking, it was immediate relief. So I'm happy about that. I want to give them at least that credit. But I am a little disappointed about the backache. It is pretty severe, and so I had to soak early this morning, and right now I'm using my heating pad. So what lesson did I get out of this? Again, you can do all the right things and still have an outcome that may not be to your liking. So this is a part of life that we're in an imperfect world, and I guess I might have thought that enlightenment or the Buddha effect of life meant that I guess perfection. But no, you know what? You know my definition of enlightenment. I think enlightenment is not about perfection. It's about seeing the world as it really is, that we are all a bunch of imperfect beings with our own drives and desires. And sometimes we're in a good mood and sometimes we're in a bad mood. So, that life could become unpredictable, but it's how you respond to those new situations. How did I respond when the chiropractic work um, made my back ache? Or how did I respond when they sent the wrong mattress pad, the topper? So I couldn't change those things from happening. I really can't change what's going on in the government or society in general, but I could try to modify how I respond to things. I see that some things that I might come to wrong conclusions. Um, yeah, I noticed that certain things I'm wrong about. I said, wow, I see where I thought one thing, but I was incorrect. So I guess in this pursuit of enlightenment, that the real enlightenment is about knowing um, who you are. To be realistic about. Yes, how you doing? To be realistic about um, your shortcomings, um, your natural drives, and to know that everything that you see here, whether you're rich or poor, that it's all a process, and you go through one stage to the next, and that this life is all about change. You know, your personality could change, your body changes definitely. Your spouse can change. You might have a spouse that had the perfect body when you first met them, and then as time goes on, they might become sickly, or their shape changes that may not be as pleasing to you. So it's always a constant change. The foods that we eat, the food that I ate, the type of food that they had in New York City tasted one way to me, and now it has a different taste to it. And so everything, everything is changing at every moment. And I guess I really thought that I'd just be that one stick that doesn't change, but it's not true. I'm constantly changing, and so if I think, like, not just my outside that changes, but the way I think inside is changing too. Everything is changing. So yeah, the spirituality is not perfection. And I thought it was. I really did. I thought enlightenment meant about being perfect and happy ever after, happy ever after. And no, that's not true. It's about, okay, so I have this quirk about me, or I have that about me, and okay, so live with it, and navigate within that knowledge. So yeah, it is something. And what about, like, the 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 thought of, hey, what if I live in a particular area? I mean, I used to live in Hawaii. It's a beautiful state, very, very pretty. But I think the illusions, even with that I was better off. I think I was better off staying where I am. And I think, see, something could really be beautiful and nice, but maybe it's not. Yes, very beautiful. Yes, maybe life is not about living in a perfect place like Hawaii. Um, maybe it's not for you. Maybe you won't develop in the way that you could develop if you lived somewhere else. So maybe that was another lesson that I was to learn, that yes, it might be nice to live over in that part of the world, but it may not be perfect for you. And I was forced. I shouldn't say the word forced, but I felt pressured to leave, and I don't regret it because I had to be honest with myself one day. Um, I was in my own studio apartment, and I was sitting on the ground, and I started to cry, and I said, I talked to myself. I said, "Hey, well, are you happy here, or you just want people to think you're happy?" So I said, I'm miserable. I am not happy here. And I think at that point I made that decision to go back to the U.S. mainland, back to New York. And I'm glad I did. I mean, Maui, Hawaii, is a beautiful place to visit, but it may not be the perfect place for you. Or even, let's look again. I was talking about the mattress that I bought. It's fine to get it's nothing wrong getting an organic mattress and spend all this money on it, but maybe it wasn't to be perfect for you. I'm really hoping that when they send the correct items and the items that were damaged to send the new one, that I really hope that it works out well. And again, with the chiropractor, you know, maybe for me, I was, I guess, looking for perfection in my body, that would be absence of pain, and maybe that's not a reality for me at this age of my life. I'm not a 21-year-old anymore. I'm much older than that, and so maybe I had unrealistic expectations, uh, being at the age I am now, and that you may, that that line of normality for you might be okay. You might be in pain maybe just 10% of the time rather than 50% of the time. So, but again, I did think it was going to be a magic pill for health, but there's a price to pay, and right now I'm in severe pain. So I guess if it ain't broken, then don't fix it. Or some things you just got to really leave it. It comes with the territory. If some things come with the territory, you know, leave it. So, yeah, so moderation at the stage you are, and moderation for some people, it all fluctuates between each other. Not everybody's portion is the same. Some people could take a little more, some people could take a little less, but it's according to where they stand at that time and what they're ready for, you know. But again, I am allowing myself to do these things, and it's a lesson, and I'm not going to beat myself over the head with it. That I'm not going to punish myself that the outcome wasn't exactly what I wanted. I did it in faith and trust in the matter, but life is what it is. So, what is my next step here? Mm, I think I want to downsize a little bit. Um, I think, yeah, I think I want to downsize. I want things a little bit more simpler in my home. It's starting to look really busy and crowded. Something a little bit more simple. Um, yeah, I would say that's the main thing. And I have to be more moderate with, what do you call it? The social media. I'm not doing the amount of meditation that I thought I wanted to do. And definitely I'm not doing all the reading that I wanted to do. Yeah, yeah, that was important to me. I I I I think I get kind of wired sometimes that like sometimes it's hard to really stand still. And when you're reading a book, you got to stand still enough to get focused and read and comprehend what you're reading. But I'm so kind of edgy sometimes, and so it takes discipline to sit and read a book and not try to rush it. You know, it's there for your understanding. So why am I trying to rush? So yeah, I got my newer books are right on the top of that um, shelving that I have in front of me. And yeah, and then I have more books in the living room, a lot of them. And I really wanted to get into them as well. So, you know, maybe like with Sid Arthur, I think what he was trying to teach that be in the know. Oh, okay. Thanks for sharing, Libera. It's good to see you. Yeah, if I didn't say that, yeah, you're welcome. It's good to see you, and I appreciate your chat there. Yeah. So I think that's really what life is. You know, about the now. I I can't change anything. Yeah, great being here. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and great being in the now. Yeah, I want to learn to enjoy my now moments more. And I sense things are going to be really changing. Um, yeah, I feel it changing. And um, I want to be ready for those changes. I sense there's going to be changes in the family that I was raised in, and some relatives. Um, yeah, I never thought that certain things would happen, the people getting older and sick. I have to be open to that too, that that is a reality. And I think what really, I'm sorry, I'm just looking out the window there. um, I think I think I need to put in perspective about all this, about life, um, to follow nature. That okay, I sent out the 11 laws of the Ma'at. Okay, yeah, you can elaborate about more about that. I'm not sure. I've heard of the term Ma'at. I think that's an Egyptian, ancient Egyptian term. But yeah, I nature that life and death are happening simultaneously, and I don't want to be afraid of the subject of dying, because it's something you can't avoid. Um, and I had an aunt, she wasn't my real aunt, but uh, she grew up with my mom, so she knew uh, the family before any of the kids were born. You know. Okay, death is an illusion. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Lightbearer, one of my people in my chat. Yeah, I don't want to be afraid of something that I can't escape, and I can just think of it as a ride in a car, and in the car you're going to have different sceneries, and some of the scenery is actually yourself going through changes. You know, you have a moment, and then you're passing by, and you see the next tree, then the next tree. So it's always something that's transitioning into something else. So maybe that's going to help me more. I want to be more mature about it, not so timid as I was as a child. But if something like death is unavoidable, then I might as well um, learn about it and understand it. You know, I don't want to start running away from things. So that's why I also went to that funeral of my aunt. Um, to face certain realities. And if you're able to, face the inevitable, that maybe that's where real freedom really comes about. By saying, hey, my life is what it is, and one day this too is going to change, and then then it can't grab you if you're going to think it's going to stay forever. So um, yeah, maybe to find out more about real life, observing nature, and being comforted by it. You know, yeah. So I think that's what this is what I feel for now. And again, the next day or a year from now, maybe I'll think differently. So I'm allowing myself in this spirit journey of mine to allow myself to change, you know. So just like my body is changing, my attitude also can change as well. But I in any step though, yeah, I want to learn how to, really um, be more comfortable in me. And if you're not comfortable in your own body, how can you be comfortable living? Because it's you're housed in this body, and so that's your foundation. Okay, the black woman's DNA is found within the plants and trees. Wow, that was beautiful. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, light bearer. Yeah. So yeah, this. Yeah, I know. I think the spiritual path is a path for me, but I don't want to get too spiritual that I can't enjoy people, all types of people. And I know I put out a lot of videos today. And again, I'm putting out what I felt at the moment. And one thing I don't want to, how do you say, I think one of the videos I put up today, I don't want it to be uh, thought that only only about black people having certain enlightenment. Um, that oh, how did it go now? I said like the black veil of awareness, and how we might stigmatize the term black, that is something bad, but that a veil can also be a white veil of its illusions too. And the color white actually is all the colors of the visible light within one. And so if it's the visible light, all of the visible light rays in it, then the illusions is what comes through that. So that could be an illusion of falsehood as well. But we're always assuming that illusion is always hidden in blackness. Illusions also could be hidden in white thing as well. But I don't want, okay, the message was that I want to convey now is I don't want to convey that things that are white are evil. No, I don't want to say, I don't want to suggest that. And I think that it's may have come across that way. But no, that you have people who are so-called called white people. Some are decent and some aren't. But I do live in a society that has its history to oppress certain people based on where they come from. And so the history of those people are people from Europe, but they're not the only oppressors, and we oppress ourselves as well. You have people within the black community, they hurt one another. And so I don't want to go and imply that all white people are bad, because that's not true. And you know what else with this awakening? I'm just it just came to my memory, and I was meaning to say this in this video as well. I was, excuse me, I had found this. Someone had wrote a comment on one of my videos, and again, I'm not going to say who it was, but I checked to see who the person was, and it was. I think I was a little shocked. I see that. Wow. I see that you have people, you have hurting people out there. And my perception, based on what the person looked like and how they spoke, that this person had faced a lot of severe emotional upset. And I never would have thought when I was a young teen that people, how do you say, that these people, that, how do you go? I would have never thought that a Caucasian person could experience and be in that much pain and duress. Many of us in the Black community may think that all white people in America have it easy, that all white people wear nice clothes or they all are rich. And I'm seeing in this spirit journey of mine that this is not true. You have some who are, wow, what I saw with that person, it was beyond my experience in seeing that. It puts light, it puts the concept of white America and Black America in perspective. And here we see what we see on television, but it's not, it's total reality. And again, I meet people through YouTube, and they're all types of people with all types of problems. And that woman that I saw was an eye opener to me. And I'm glad that the people who commented on her video were very kind to her. They could have really been hostile and mocking. They probably perceived and saw what I saw as well in that person, and no way they're going to insult the person. They feel that pain. So I know in this current society, I may think that racism is a reality, but it too is an illusion of, I guess what I mean by illusion, that it's something that sucks you into the drama of life, and we shouldn't get sucked into it. I mean, be aware that you have people, or maybe certain regions that you can't go into, or you'll be treated a certain way. So use wisdom, but life life is many ways to many different people, and we may think that the grass. I know I thought that the grass was greener somewhere else, and it's not. And I'm glad to learn. I'm glad that I'm being showed this other realities. We have to really start watching other people and really seeing what is life like, what's really going on. I think that would be half the battle, because a lot of us are trying to pursue certain things because of the illusion of receiving that particular thing that you think you want. it could have a price attached to it that is too costly for you to bear. It could be an illusion of falsehood, or maybe it could be exactly what you thought it would be for you. Either way, um, the coin could fall heads or tails, and you never know what you're going to get. You can do all the best things and preventions, but if it happens, it happens. Something you just can't avoid. And maybe this is presented to you as a lesson of your personal life. So, yeah, that's how I feel about this concept about Buddhism and how what my understanding of that documentary, how it implies in my life as an individual living in a big city, being an individual who's in the state that I'm in. It's like every day is another learning lesson, and spirituality and spiritual enlightenment has nothing to do with perfection. It's just being able to accept what that reality is and how you navigate around it and to enjoy the moment. So I wish to learn how to enjoy the moment, even in times of challenge, that I can't change certain things. So I will at least let me think of something else to make it bearable. And if reincarnation is true, uh, I don't want to come back here. I don't want to. Um, but while I'm here, I want to learn the lessons of life and to embrace the full spectrum of life. Yeah. So with that last note, I can't think of anything else to say. Okay, thank Light Beer, and that's the way it is supposed to be. Yes, but this. Okay, I couldn't read it fast enough. But yeah, thank you so much, Light Beer. It's always good to read your your chats. They're very enlightening. It's fun to read them. And so when I do upload this video, um, I like to read the comments of everybody. So those of you who weren't able to do the live chat here, well, when it is uploaded, you can write your comments below. I hope this video was enlightening for you, that it got you to think of other things outside of yourself. How do you relate with others in your experiences? And to keep on keeping on in uh, this thing called life, you know? So yes, don't be shy and to write your comments below. And those of you who like my channel, you can share my channel with other people. Again, as I mentioned, you can comment below. And what else? Also, I have what they call a PayPal me account. Those of you who want to support my channel, if the spirit within you talks to you to give, then you give from your heart what you're able to afford, and to you can click on my PayPal me account. You'll see the little icon on my channel. So you just go to my channel, Spirit Journey, and on the top right of the banner, you see the PayPal me icon. You press on it and you follow the prompts, and whatever what your heart moves you to give. And if you can't give monetarily, you can give with a smile and a thumbs up. So I thank you all for watching. Each one teach one. It's all a classroom, okay? So thank you again for staying up with me this evening, and you have a safe night, okay? Stay warm if you're living in the north, okay? Yes, bye-bye.